Hi, I'm Tina Ann Middleton, author of the Forestville series. I'd like to welcome you today to the writing journey, where we inspire and encourage each other in the craft of writing. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite resources. It's a book that has so much helpful information. We'll be right back. I've mentioned writer resources in quite a few of my past episodes. Today I would like to go more in depth on one of my favorites. It's this one, Editor-Proof Your Writing, 21 Steps to the Clear Prose Publishers and Agents Crave. The book is by Don McNair. This book, I think more than any, showed me, well, we're going to kind of divide it up. First, I'll tell you what it showed me, what to put into my book. One of the most important things it showed me is that very important hook to get the reader's attention. He compared it to the old lady that lives like on the first floor, and then there's an old man that lives above her, and every night she hears him take off his slippers and drop them on the floor. And that's how she knows that he's gone to bed. Now she's going to turn off her light and go to sleep also. But what if he only dropped one slipper and he held the other slipper? That gets her attention. So when I write, I have to make sure that I start that book off with something that's going to grab your attention. If I start off with a lovely pastoral scene that goes on and on and on, I'm liable to lose you. But if I start off with the guy and the girl are jogging down the path, she gets hurt and later he gets shot, that just might grab your attention, don't you think? And then he talked about when you finish a scene or a chapter, you have to finish that chapter with a hook to make the reader want to go to the next chapter, to find out what's going to happen. It's that thing with the shoes again, you know. You drop one shoe at the end of the chapter, but you hold on to that other one to hold that reader, to make them wonder, I've got to find out what happened. I'm just going to read one more chapter. I know I have done that so many times. My eyes might be so blurry I can hardly see the words, but I'm reading this story and they end the chapter with something happening. And I got to go to the next page. And he talks about how you can do that with your own book. Now, he also talks about point of view. And there are 3 ways you can do point of view. There's the first person, like you are telling the story and it happened to you. That could be, I could use my dog Nikki as an example. I sprained my ankle. I borrowed crutches, and I learned about a puppy that somebody had. You see what I mean? It's me. This happened to me. Or there's the second point of view. I'm trying to remember what that's called now. That's why I have the book right here so I can look at that. That's the second person point of view. You don't see this very often. But that is if, say, I was telling your story. You were at therapy. You didn't see that curb and you sprained your ankle. I don't think you see that very often in books. But it is one that people have used, I think. The one we usually see the most is the third person point of view, like a narrator. She went to therapy. She didn't see that curb. She stepped wrong and sprained her ankle. Now, one thing, even before I got his book, I had to learn about this. It's called head hopping. You have to be really careful about that. When I wrote my chapter, I think I had like 6 different points of view. They were all third person, but they were all from different characters, what they were thinking or feeling or saying. And it can be very confusing for the reader because the reader is kind of like Okay, whose head are we in here? So when you're telling your story, you need to limit it to maybe just a couple points of view. And when you change the point of view, you might want to have a break between the scenes. That's what I had to do. And that's what you'll probably see in novels that you may read. Say you're doing it from Tom's point of view, what Tom is thinking and feeling, but now you want to get Rhonda's point of view. Put a little break between the scenes. They might still be in the same situation, but you're changing from what he's thinking to what she's thinking. And then if the bad guy comes along and you want to show what he's thinking, you got to do another little break there. And even those, be careful. If you got all these little bitty paragraphs with different points of view, it's still head hopping. So that was something I had to learn. I'm really still learning, because I'm wanting to say, well, I got to show what this person is thinking. Well, now I got to show what this person is thinking. And what I'm actually going to do is have my reader thinking it's time to get another book. He also shows, I almost jumped ahead, some more of what to put in there. Tension and conflict. Now, most of us, we don't like tension and conflict in our day-to-day life. And I definitely don't. This caused a problem for me when I first started writing my first novel, because I didn't want there to be tension and conflict between my hero and my heroine. I wanted them to be friends right from the start. But there has to be the tension and conflict, because that's part of what grabs and holds the reader's attention. Because then they're wondering, are they going to work this out? If you read the same kind of books like I do, or any kind of novel really, any kind of fiction, even nonfiction, there's got to be tension. There's got to be a conflict that is later resolved. If you're writing a romantic story, romance, you got to put the romance in there. You know, mine are pretty, I call them sweet. Some might call them tame. But I don't have steamy stuff in mine. But there is romance. There's tenderness, and they hold hands and they kiss. So romance, if you're going to write romantic suspense, there had better be some romance in there. In fact, I've read books from some authors, they're not going for romantic suspense. Maybe it's an adventure type book. But if you look at it, there is still a little bit of romance in there. Now, he also shows what to take out of the book. Ing words. You might be thinking, what? Ing words. She started walking. Okay, so she took one step and just stood there with her foot in the air. He says, no, you don't do that. She walked. Or, I know I've liked to do this, and it's probably an old-fashioned thing, and I've read old-fashioned books, so that's why I liked it. Smiling sadly, she, fill in the blank. No, he says, don't do that. She did such and such as she smiled sadly. So it makes it clearer. It's supposed to take out a lot of clutter that gets in the way of the story. Passive voice. That's a big one they say to avoid. Passive voice. She was reminded of how much they loved each other in the past. Instead, make it more active. His care for her reminded her of the love they shared. But try, and I know it's not easy. That's why we have to go over and over and over and polish things, because we'll go through and we'll find the ing words, we'll find the passive words, and when we change them, it sounds awkward to us. Anybody else experience that? But, you just keep going. But this is one of the things he said, watch out for, is that passive voice. You want active. Things are happening. Not happening to so-and-so, but things are happening. This person is doing this because of this. ly words. Now, I really have a problem with this one because I want to use those adverbs. And he says, don't do that. It clutters things up. So you have to watch out for that. You know, she ran quickly. Well, if she ran, she probably didn't run slowly, so she ran, or she ran like a rabbit. So he says, watch out for those ly words. There's so much more of what to watch out for in here. He provides practice in each of the lessons. There are sentences to fix. There's a short story to edit called Sarah's Perils. So I highly recommend this book. This is a great book, especially for those of us who are new writers. And I know there are tons of books and classes that teach how to write. And I sign up for some of those. But this is one that I keep going back to. And I'll continue to use this and resources that are similar to this to make sure that my writing is the kind that will hold my readers. And I hope that you'll join me in continuing to write. Have a great week.